So, welcome to another episode of Take 47 Podcast. And pretty clearly, I'm not at home. I'm somewhere else. So, from now on, I'm just going to ask you to excuse the background noise. But yeah, we have the Senate approved President Trump's big beautiful bill. It passed it was a tie. It was 50-50. But obviously, Vice President Vance had the tie-breaking vote because he's a vice president, and of course he did vote in favor, as expected. Also, sorry if I get out of frame a little. I'm on a treadmill, and what exactly does this bill include? I don't think I've actually said like what it fully includes, other than like the basic things. Obviously, it has the extension of the 2017 Trump tax cuts. It also has no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime until 2028. Well, through 2028. That's when Trump is officially out of office. It increases SALT deduction cap from $10K to $40K for incomes up to $500,000. It has higher standard deductions, $1,000 for individual and $2,000 for married jointly. Of course, this is for filing your taxes. The child tax credit will be boosted to $2,500, and it will then be $2,000 after 2028. And so from 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028, it's going to be $2,500 again for filing taxes. SNAP benefits, the age limit will be raised to 64 years old. I'm not sure what the previous age limit or cap was, but now it's going to be 64. So that's good, and it helps elderly people. And I believe the average age, or the standardized age for retirement is 65. So once you're past 64, you can't receive the SNAP benefits anymore due to your age. And pretty clearly, if you're retired, you're not going to keep on taking SNAP benefits, unless there's really no unless, I guess. But yeah, the SNAP benefits do end at age 64 if the bill does get passed. And I'll talk about that in a second, but let me finish reading through the rest of the things. So $150 billion will be added to the defense spending. That would make the budget around $1 trillion almost. And $25 billion of the newly added $150 billion will be spent on the Golden Dome defense. Obviously, Israel has the Iron Dome, which is for intercepting missiles. It's a very accurate defense system. That, along with David Sling, and I believe the Patriot is the third one that they have, or at least the third one that was mentioned in the Israel-Iran conflict, the most recent one. And it's a very effective system, and of course, if we make it here in America, the Golden Dome should be more effective, especially considering our defense budget and how much we are going to develop this. And our quality of weapons are obviously greater than anybody else's, and also Canada is willing to join this Iron Dome defense system, Golden Dome, and they will be paying a piece of it, not that much, but they will be paying a share of the total price, and they will also be protected by our Golden Dome. A $55 billion for border management. About $50 billion of those are for building the actual structure of the wall, and the other $5 billion are for, paying the border patrol and ICE and all that. And that's pretty much all the big notable things about the bill. But notably, I made a short about this some time ago. The U.S. House of Representatives passed the big beautiful bill. I believe it was about a month ago. I'm not exactly sure about the date. I can't recall right now, but they passed it by very narrow majority, very slim, and it went over to the Senate, and today they passed it. 50-50 tie again, as I said. VP Vance broke the tie with his vote in favor, but due to some changes that were made to the whole bill, they will have to send it back to the House of Representatives, and it will be voted on again. And some people in the House didn't really like the changes, so now it's going to be another fight to get it through. And we're really going to have to see, what's going to happen with the bill, and if it really is going to get passed by the July 4th deadline that President Trump has. And the president has decided to primary anybody who voted against the bill that is of the Republican Party. So that would be Rand Paul, Tom Tillis from North Carolina, and there's another senator Republican who voted against the bill. I can't recall the name right now, but yeah, those three will get primaried. And primary is just the Republican in your, well, I guess for your state, because they're senators. The opponent that they face another Republican in their districts, I guess. And the other Republican that they face is supposed to take them out, and that Republican should go against the Democrat and would probably win or probably lose. It depends. But that's what President Trump is planning to do, and Elon Musk is planning to do the complete opposite. He's going to do the same thing, but with everybody who voted for the bill. So that's about 50 Republicans, and honestly, I don't think that he might have as big of an effect, considering, even though he is the world's richest man, and he has spent a few $1 million on politics already, I'm not very sure that he really will be very effective against 50 Republicans. One or two is more feasible, as President Trump's going to primary at least 3 of them. But 50 is a bit much, even for Elon Musk, I would say. And, some of these Republicans are solid in their states, right? They're going to be really hard to beat out. And I really doubt that Elon Musk will really move the waters, at least for some of the Republicans. Obviously, others might be primaried, but I can't guarantee anything. And this is for the midterms, which are coming up in 2026, by the way, for those of you who do not know. And, of course, you should absolutely vote. They are very important for our government. And, your vote could be the difference between the Congress being a Republican majority or a Democrat majority, or even a tie. And in most cases, if it's a tie, the vice president will be the tie-breaking vote, due to the fact that, if people are very strict with their party, they aren't willing to vote for a legislation that might be favorable to the other party. And the vice presidency is a very important factor here. And, I'd say as long as we have a 50-50, we'd be fine in most cases, unless we have a rhino, which is weak Republicans, squishy Republicans. And, hopefully we don't. And if we do, President Trump will primary them. And, it really does show who are the rhinos in the government through, the big, beautiful bill and other legislation that the president wants to get passed. But yeah, the next topic is Alligator Alcatraz. So this morning, President Trump went over to Florida with Governor Ron DeSantis, and they met down in the Everglades. They are opening a new detention facility for ICE in the Everglades, and it is a FEMA-funded $450 million. It's going to cost $450 million to maintain it per year, which is, I don't know if that's expensive or reasonable, but it can hold up to like 5,000 people, and if it's completely full, then I guess that's probably somewhat reasonable. And the whole thing about this is that they don't have to spend that much, well, not that insane crazy amounts on security, because as I mentioned, it's in the Everglades, and the Everglades, if somebody were to manage to escape that jail, they would have to survive like 60 miles of, crocodiles, mosquitoes, pythons, and all other deadly swamp creatures to make it to like civilization. And if somebody were to escape, they are pretty much screwed. 60 miles by itself is probably enough for the police or ICE or the SWAT or whoever to actually find you and catch you. And if you even do make it out alive, which is, I really doubt it, even in a vehicle, it'd take quite some time. And this is obviously replacing the old Alcatraz, obviously a very famous max security prison, and it's going to be in the Everglades, as I previously mentioned, and it's going to be all the way down in Florida. So some people are upset about this because, of course, if President Trump's involved, there's always going to be at least one person that is against. And some people are against it because it's too hot down there, and they're using wildlife as deterrents for anybody escaping. But to be fair, how about you just don't escape? That sounds like a much more reasonable option. And even more reasonable option is, how about you just don't commit a crime? If you don't commit a crime, you won't be arrested. Or if you just don't enter a country, that's even better. If you don't enter a country and commit a crime and get sent to Alligator, Alcatraz, and escape that, then you won't get eaten by a crocodile or an alligator. And if you don't get eaten by an alligator and just remain in prison and serve your sentence or get deported to wherever you belong, that's much better than getting eaten by a crocodile. And much better than even being in that jail is just not committing crime, or even better than that is just returning to your home country before you get deported. They're even offering like $1,000 to anybody who self-deports, and I believe about 1 million illegals have already done this, which is not bad. That's about $1 billion. And I do personally believe that it's more cost effective to just give them $1,000. And I believe we're also paying for their flights. So it really depends, what flight you send them on. But I do think it's more cost effective to offer them money and pay their flight than to send out entire, ICE squads to go and chase them down across the entire U.S., which is kind of crazy. And I do think that most of them should be in the continental U.S. I doubt anybody would be in Alaska or Hawaii unless they stole somebody else's papers. But it's going to be much easier to round everybody up and send them back home if they just self-deport and take some money, which I guess is fine with me. Our budget is about $4.6 trillion, I believe. So $1 billion is not that big a deal, especially for 1 million illegals, and we have 16 of them. So, supposing that everybody were to do this, of course they won't. That'd be a total cost of $16 billion, which is a bargain for all the deportation that need to take place. And that's pretty much it for that topic. But next topic is a tragedy that happened over the weekend on, I believe, Sunday. A man in Idaho, Wes Rowley, set a fire in the forest on purpose to lure in a few firefighters. And once they got to the scene to put out the fire, he opened fire on them, and sadly 2 of them were killed. One of them was injured, but he was in critical condition, and he already got his surgery, and he's in the hospital, and he will make it. But the 2 that were killed, Frank Harwood, 42 years old and 17 years of service, and the second one is John Morrison, 52 years old, more than 28 years of service. And if I can find a photo of him, that guy had an amazing mustache, by the way. But yeah, it's sad for the 2 firefighters that died. And this guy was found dead at the scene. It's still conflicting reports on whether he decided to take his own life or if he was somehow shot by a law enforcement officer. Some people are saying that he just took his life, which I guess makes more sense. And there's even some radio communications or whatever of the firefighters, talking and being in the situation. And they sounded terrified. And I mean, considering what they do for a job is put out fires, being ambushed by God knows who, is rather terrifying, especially considering that you're technically trying to save that person. But of course, just rest in peace to the 2 souls that were taken. The 2 lives that were taken. And, just rest in peace to those 2 people that served in the, I forget the name of the county, sorry. But that served in the firefighter force, if you want to call it that. But yeah, he set fire in a forest, and obviously once the firefighters got there, he opened fire. One of them was shot. Well, 3 of them were shot. One is in critical condition, but already got surgeries, and he's apparently going to get better. 2 of them were sadly killed, as I said. And that's pretty much it for today's video. I know my last video did very, very well. It got 301 views at the time of recording this one. That's last time I checked. And the only other one that's done better than that is the Elon Musk and Trump controversy, which we might see revived with primarying, is that even a word? Primarying senators that they don't like. And, I guess it's completely legal to do that, but I wouldn't be really in favor of that, I guess. But I do believe that, the senators that we have, their main job is obviously to represent us, but I guess like their secondary job is to, support the country and the man that was elected to the country. At least, if it's within their party, of course. I wouldn't want a Republican supporting a Democrat. At least not one of my senators. But, of course, we want our senators to be on the side of the president. Of course, unless he's wrong. If the president's wrong, then yeah, the senators are free to not go along with the president. But just let me know what you think about the Elon Musk versus Trump thing being revived again, and what senators you believe should be primaried. Recently, Tucker Carlson did an interview with Ted Cruz, and some people, after they saw that, want to get him out of office because he didn't do very well in that interview, I would say. Me personally, I don't know Ted Cruz that well. I just know that he's from Texas, and he's a pretty, I guess, famous senator. But the whole Senate is full of corruption. Let's be honest, and I do think that there should be term limits for senators, because we've had some of them serving, and not just senators, also representatives. We've had some of them serving for 20 plus years, and it's kind of crazy. And I really do think that there should be term limits, but not for presidents. I do believe that people should elect the president as long as they want, and it's different than with senators, because at one point the people will get tired of the same person being in office. And you know, that does kind of show, considering, you know, if you look back until like Reagan and H.W. Bush, we've had Republican Democrat presidencies, and all the way until Reagan and Bush, and before that it was Carter, and before that it was Nixon and Ford, but, well, he resigned, so that doesn't really count. And before Nixon and Ford, LBJ and Kennedy, but again, that doesn't really count. Kennedy died. And, you know, before that, Eisenhower, and then before that we have Truman and FDR, but FDR did die. So, you know, our country's kind of bipolar, I guess. We just, once we get tired of a Democrat, we choose a Republican, and then we just keep switching pretty much every 4 years or every 2 terms. And, you know, but I do think that this time it will be different. I think the Democrats really screwed up this last election cycle, and that it's going to be really hard for them to get back. Some people are already crowning the probable, most likely new mayor of New York, Mamdani, as the new head of the Democrat Party. But I don't know that. I don't know if that's going to be true. And we have like 3 more years left till the next full election, so I wouldn't be 100% dead set and 100% sure on that. Of course, we have to see, and if any new candidate does emerge. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today's video. If you do like it, hit the like button and subscribe. And yeah, next video should be coming out Friday. And if the House does pass the bill, and if it doesn't, I will still make a short on it and inform you about that if anything crazy happens during these days. But yeah, next video should be coming out Friday, and thank you to all of you who did subscribe in my last video, and all of you who did watch it. And yeah, thanks for watching.